In order to understand the CSRF attack, we need to understand how actually the web application works behind the scenes. So I have created this very simple application in PHP CodeIgniter framework. It doesn't matter. It can be in any other framework or just a plain any. It can be in Python, it can be in PHP, it can be in Laravel. Doesn't matter. But this particular application is having the normal behavior, and that is the login screen. So we normally have the login screen. That's how we authenticate our users, and then only we serve the other pages which are meant to be shown to the authenticated user. For example, for this particular application, I have created another page which is called CSRF, which we will see in a second. If I try to access that one now without logging into this application, it will take me back to the login screen. And the behind the scene, the way it works is because HTTP is stateless, it doesn't hold any information about the user login. The way web applications handle this is via the sessions. So what exactly the session means? So if I try to inspect this one and go to the applications, so our application is of course localhost 8080, and what you can see is that the cookies. So what session does is on the server side, if I quickly flash my PHP code, like I mentioned, it doesn't matter. I'm using the CodeIgniter. If you are not familiar with it, don't worry about it. But any web application will create a session. So this is the session it created here, DK8. And you can see here it is a session DK8. It has created, framework has created another CSRF cookie name as well, which we are not using right now. That is generated by the framework. So don't worry about that one right now. We will see later on that as well. So but you can see the CI session, which is the CodeIgniter session, is the DK8, and right now it created that one on the server side, and from the server side it sends and saves in a cookie. Now the way a web application work is that for this particular site, whenever I reach any other page, like we looked into the /CSRF, which we'll see in a second as well, browser will always send the cookies in a header by default. Let's have a look. So if I log in into this my website, okay, you will see now it has taken me to the next page where CSRF, I just created this one, but basically I put this one product. Let's say if this application is okay, you can buy iPhone on this one. You just put name, your address, and you can buy a product. Now let's first have a look at this particular page we have reached. So go to the networks, and because we reached to the CSRF page, I want to show you in the headers. Okay, so if we see the headers, you will see that if I go to the request header, now this is when the browser make a request to the server, you will see it sent the cookie, and within the cookie we have our session. So this is how our cookie is sent with each and every page by default. This is something browser does, and that's the reason we save the session cookie is started by the server, and then when the user is authenticated, we add into the session whether that particular user is logged in or not. I will show you. So we looked into this session earlier, which was half, but now you can see it has more information, because when we did the login into the application, we wrote the code. I have already written that code, and basically I am adding some of the information about that user. Now you never add any sensitive information in the cookie, because this can be readable, because this is on the client side. But you do write this, okay, like for example I looked into, okay, is logged in, whether that is that particular user has logged in, true or false. And then that's how on the next every page when I receive the cookie, the session, I can check whether that it is logged in or not. And that's how most of the web applications work. Now what is, okay, let's quickly have a look then. Okay, if I am on this page, I'm going to buy a product. Okay, let's say, okay, my name is Jiftesh and I'm address is somewhere in London. I'm going to buy this product. Okay, in my application I'm keeping it very simple, just so that you can understand. I have created a JSON, so any orders I am tracking here. As you can see, the user who has authenticated, valid user, place the order, and I can see the order over here. Now let's have a look. What if this website is vulnerable, and it is vulnerable, and how anyone will find it out it is vulnerable, and then they try to manipulate? Because if I show you its view source, then basically it is just a form, and that form is having the method post, and it is going, this is the action. So if anyone can basically post here, if they have access to our session ID, if they have the access to the session cookie, they can make a request over here. How they're gonna do it? Let's have a look. Okay, now let's create a web page from hacker's point of view, and let's see how we can exploit this particular vulnerable website. So I have already wrote a code. It's just a couple of lines. This is just the head tag. The main thing is here basically I have added the same form, so you can see in our view source when we looked into it was the same. So hacker would just have a look, okay, where you are posting that particular form, what method you're using, and what data you are providing. Similar sort I have done. Okay, I've kept the method as a post, same as the action, a URL, and then I am providing my name. I'm just giving a CSRF attack and address as hacker's place, something like that, and I am going to call this particular form as soon as you load this particular web page. Basically hacker will send this as a link via email, where you click the link, and if you have the session already there because you have logged into those websites, then it will exploit and it will place an order. So let's see in an action. So I created this one, it is in this folder. So let me fire up the PHP so I can open it as localhost. So let me open this one on port 5000. Okay, now when I will open the website at 5000, as soon as I hit, it's going to place an order, because on the page load itself we are calling the submit function. So let's see it now took us to, okay, order has been placed. Let's look into our order database and see. You can see that it has placed an order. Now think like this, like I mentioned, so this is just of course a very simple website, but these things do happen in a real life if these things are ignored, because you as a user, you have already logged into the website and the cookies are already there. All we are doing is, because we are calling the same endpoint, same submission URL, so it going to pick up the session ID from the cookie, and the web browser going to send as part of header, and it says, because it's authenticated already, server will think, oh, it is coming genuinely. But this is how hacker can do. And imagine, like I mentioned earlier, if you have functionality where you can change the email address, and then this is where hackers will keep on exploring the website, okay, where the vulnerability is. Okay, if it is changing the password, you have a field, and that's why most of the sites you will see any sensitive information, like for example you might have seen on Amazon, when you place an order or you change address, those sort of things, so they ask for the password again. And this is some of the things you can include definitely as another step within your application. Any sensitive information, if you want to change the email address, which is your unique username or anything like that, you can ask to enter password again, ask them to re-log in again. But we will look into the other steps, how to prevent this CSRF attack completely as well. So this is how the CSRF attack is done. Now this is the one flavor. There is a more worse flavor as well. Depends if someone hasn't paid attention to what these methods are. I will give you an example. Okay, so let's say the application which I wrote, of course we are doing the post. Okay, so instead of post, let's say if I do get, So I know I'm showing you the code igniter, the PHP code. I know you don't, maybe I'm not, you might be familiar, you might not be, but this particular session is not about the code igniter or PHP. Maybe I will do separate session for that one. Here I just want to show you what it means. Okay, so right now in our the code, we are handling both the get method and the post method. Basically, this particular form page is loaded when we send a get request, but when we post anything, then it triggers the post one, and that's how we are, you know, placing an order. But I have created just the get one. Let's say, for example, in our page, you change the method to get. Okay, and you saying that, okay, I'm going to get, and actually I have created because of course the get method on CSRF is the page is already there, so I have created a separate one order. Okay, and let's say, and this is where you need to have the knowledge. Okay, why we use get post? I know very simple is, okay, post is to update, but why it is so means, if you even give a method get, it's not going to stop you. You can still update the database, you can do everything, but these things help you to understand why the things are in detail or how it works in detail. Okay, I will give you. Okay, so we change this one to get. Now what will happen? Let's say, okay, I'm going to, let me go back to this hour. Okay, now we're going to do with the get. Now I'm going to make a normal. Okay, so I am Jivtesh again, and this is my normal address. Okay, now we're going to do with the get. So I'm just going to open our developers tool, and then I'm going to go in the network, and I'm going to buy. Okay, when I bought it, you will see I have sent, this time it is a get request when I sent it, and with the get request, you see it sends the name Jivtesh address, so it sends as a query parameter within the URL. Now this will make things more worse. I will show you, because if I now go back to my code, I don't need to do the post. I just need to, actually I don't even need to create this application. All I need to do is I need to just send you the link of this address, and I can just change it, and I will send this here. I can send this link via your email, and I can say, okay, I'm just making so that you can distinguish hacker new address. Think like this. In this one, I will just send you this link via email. All you doing is just clicking this link, and then done. Then the hacker able to do it. If I go here and let me see. Okay, sorry, give me a second. I think it's override. Saves order. Yes, you can see this was our, let me make them in separate lines. You can see the first two were from the first, and this is the, oh, I wrote hacker then. Yeah, but you see this is the new entry with the get. So get makes it more worse rather than the post, because with post at least they have to create a page. With the get, they don't even need to create a page. They can share the same link, and because you have already signed in, you have the session cookies, it's going to just execute their one. So I hope this able to explain you how CSRF attack works and how web application actually works, so that from your development point of view, you are clear on why we are, when somebody asks you to add CSRF token in your form, why they ask for. We're going to look into next, okay, how to prevent these attacks, and the CSRF token is one of them, so we'll look into that one. So yeah, let's look into how we can prevent these ones.